Hello， 大家好，我是国际占星学院的鲁道夫老师。在今天是对我来说是非常忙碌的一天哦。那么我在今天上午跟 Christine Skinner 老师呢录制了一段视频podcast。在当中呢，我们讨论到了几个最近发生的天象，包括了在法国的状况，以及呢在占星学上呢，木星刚好呢在太阳中心制呢移进了金牛座的。我们谈论了这当中的一些观点，以及呢在最近一颗小行星呢 Haumea 呢非常接近这个月亮南交点。那我们讨论的这些情况对于最近的这个政治经济的影响。这是一个非常简短的视频，但是Christine 老师呢相当详细的解说了一些关于他的观点，同时他也介绍了一个他正在进行的维护的计划，叫做这个 Alexandra iBase。 在这当中呢，如果你对占星学的研究有兴趣的话，那么你想要找到跟你研究主题有关的书籍的时候，都可以利用这套系统然后去找到它。 OK， 那这就是关于今天我跟这个 Christine Skinner 老师录制的视频。
Hello everyone, welcome to Lunar Reason with Christine. Once a month, me and Christine will meet here on the YouTube and talk about recent transit and just chat a little bit. I mean, how are you, Christine?
Well, I'm much better than I was last time. I'm very sorry I had to run away last time, but that proved a really dramatic afternoon.
I heard about that.
Yeah. Michael had stopped breathing. We actually, I arranged it so that we have the best possible cover whilst I'm doing this. So fortunately, it was a retired nurse and he does not panic. So I knew when he said, you have to come now, I knew I had to come now. And Michael had stopped breathing for about 50 seconds. Now, I didn't look at the time, right? I had to do it afterwards and think, well, what happened? Yeah. Pluto was exactly on the IC then.
Oh
anyway,
my God.
He stopped for about 50 seconds and then he was really quite poorly for a few hours. And then eventually he was referred to the hospice people. But they then discharged us last week, right? So obviously whatever happened, it was yet another blip along the way.
Yeah.
Drama that honestly was really just
must be very, very
a bit turbulent, as they say.
I was.
Yeah, but I learned something along the way because just on the astrology point of view, because it's always worthwhile going back and saying, well, why did that happen? Whatever. But the sun was opposite his sun that day. And I was looking then at what happens when you do the half-yearly solar return. And actually, the story was in there, but I wouldn't have looked at it. Normally, if I'd done anything, I would have looked at the solar return. But looking at this half-year one, that was the one that told the best story for him. And as I said, he's recovered, but a lot of it is to do with the heat. So I'm nervous about these next few days.
Yeah, but next few days, yes.
Anyway, enough of that. We're moving on. What's the next thing?
What's the next thing? I mean, well, both you and I had a very busy schedule at this moment. I just look at your full moon newsletter, and I think you have the monthly. You always do the monthly financial class meeting, right?
Yeah, well, we've had to rename it because when it first started, it started as a one-off introduction to financial astrology. People then thought I was doing a monthly class. They're not really a class. It's if anything, it's a seminar. Standalone events, but eventually over time, you would acquire a lot of information. Anyway, it's built up quite a following, which is really nice. And they were sold, as it were, one at a time. But now I've got this new assistant. We're actually doing them in blocks of 6 so that we can give people a discount.
Oh, lovely.
But what that's also meant for me is it's now in my monthly diary rather than being something that maybe I'll be able to do or maybe not.
Yes.
It's now become more of a fixed thing. So it's got more of a form than it had before. Yeah. But however, there's a side thing to that because I can't get everything in the space of an hour.
Yeah.
People, of course, I've got crypto-itis, but I have to call it that. Yeah. So we're actually going to do a special astro crypto event in August because there's more interest, and especially now that BlackRock are going to do their ETF, and there's so much more to talk about. Yeah. So I mean, if anybody's interested, they can email us, but we'll flag that up in the course of this next week.
Definitely. So I remember is the website, the Financial Universe website, or
the financialuniverse.co.uk. Yes, that's
UK.
not on there yet because we only made the decision last night.
Okay.
So we have a little bit of work to do, but yes, that's absolutely going to happen.
So
all of that is really exciting.
Yep. So everyone, please mark it down. So in August, there is the financial crypto things, and also I think monthly things. You can find the information on the Financial Universe. And I also see you're going to give a workshop on the Synchronicity University, right?
I am. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. We're going to do Astro Money Management, that's really nice as well. That's been in the diary, though, for a long time. The other one I was going to say is that we decided to do the Astro Crypto on the day the Sun and the Venus kiss, as it were, on August 13th. That just seemed like a very good date to do it.
Definitely.
So yes, it really is. It's all happening here. And of course, the new book is due to be with the publisher by the end of August.
Oh my God, so busy.
if you've got a bag of extra hours in the day, I'll buy it from you.
I will come to help. To share a gin and tonic with you.
Yes, and then we'd really get it done. Yeah.
And okay, yes. In my part is like the first time. This is the first time I announced this news because I haven't officially announced yet. But yes, just a little bit. Information is we are organizing the first online AOA Academy of Astrology online conference for the end of this year. And it's a little bit complicated. So all my colleagues I invite, I haven't really revealed full detail. That's because I say if I say it in one go, everyone will get so confused.
Yes.
Because my school has two parts. One is in Asia. We have Japan, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, and another part we are building up using the seminar base in UK and Europe. So this would be the Euro-Asia combined together. So we will have first week in Asia, and then the basic language would be Chinese Mandarin, but then we invite international speaker, include Christine.
It's so exciting, this.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I went and spoke at that conference in Istanbul, where I was on the border, the Asian-European border, and it was exciting.
I know
about their astrology. So I do feel that, and isn't it wonderful? We're having this conversation now, and Mars is hovering about 27 degrees of Leo.
Yes.
So we're on the astrology axis right now. So yes, it's and I'm talking about my crypto thing. You're talking about absolutely in the air.
Yeah. So this conference will be 2 weeks, but only I think for English only would be the second week, would be the early December part. But and I will have astrology all around the world. So I'm still organizing it, and once I have information, I will send it out, and hope everyone will come to join us. Well, I think let's go to the astrology bit because so much going on. I mean, if we have hours, we can talk about everything. But look, what happening for last couple of weeks was like a Russia coup and then riots in France, and then the Titanic submarine, everything. It's just like.
Well, it's been, as you say, it's been absolutely wow. I've done that. I don't know if you saw it, but I did a thing on the future for Europe, which it's on YouTube now.
Yes.
This was pre the riots in France, and I was actually taking the theme from the last time Pluto was in Aquarius.
Yes.
And the revolution of that time, and thinking, we're going to hear this again. We've just heard it a little bit early. I think probably we're going to see it because we've got this series of supermoons this summer.
Yes.
We just had the first, and we're going to have these through until September. So I wouldn't like to be the French authorities at the moment, because I think feelings will literally boil over. I think that could be really a tricky time. But then we've got the big waves coming in 25, 26, and I really, honestly, I don't want to be a doom monger. That's not not who I am. But the astrology told us very clearly that we were going to have that pandemic, And I do think that that was a rehearsal to a much bigger one, which is 25, 26. And with these pandemics, you then do get revolution because people complain. It's always the politicians' fault, right? And people are genuinely really unhappy anyway. So we're overdue for a lot of shake-up. And I think Europe is right in the heart of this. I'm just saying there's another conference that's going to be in September that Wade Caves is organizing.
Yes.
And that, again, he wants me to follow through on that future for Europe and do it in slightly more detail. But, you know, if you look at Europe for the last 1,500 years, the borders are always changing.
Yes.
Right? It's inevitable, right? We've had Brexit. There will probably be a Frexit. It's Spain that really we should be giving all our attention to. That's the next hot spot, as it were. But this is just, it's part and parcel. It's history, and we're living through it. Well, obviously.
Yes. So, the huge change at this moment. And we also have a movement. I mean, not every astrologer noticed about the heliocentric, because when we talk about the planet shifting, heliocentric is another view. So when Jupiter moved into Taurus recent, it's going to happen, right?
It's going to happen on Monday. Yeah. Well, the thing is that working within the financial end of it, you absolutely have to look at both the geo and the helio. And sometimes they're very close to one another, but other times not, right? And in this instance, Jupiter hasn't got to Taurus yet. It's going to get there on Monday. Now, the deep joy of doing the heliocentric thing is you haven't got any retrogrades to worry about ever. So that's fabulous. So what we've had with the geo is that we've had hints of the changes coming in the banking. If you think of Taurus as being the banking thing, hints of what's to come. But the reality, the real strong moves will happen from Monday. Now, if you then look at the chart for the Federal Reserve and we look at the Venus station on July the 23rd, which with Mars changing signs heliocentric. There's a very big build-up of banking pressure, if you like.
I agree.
It begins on Monday, right? And it's going to last through the summer. We had this once before, which was 1998. You're probably too young for this one, but...
No, I noticed that one.
But in 1998, we had a summer with eclipses, and that was the year of all the problems with the Russian ruble. Right?
Yes.
And I remember prior to that, discussing some things with bankers in the city and saying, you don't want to be on holiday in August because this is going to be a really busy time. And at that point, I didn't have street credibility, right? And it was only after that, and two of them had flown back from Switzerland because the crisis was huge. Now I'm saying, listen, this summer is going to be, this is a big one that's coming. And particularly over that last week of July. I think the Americans will make a move because they have to protect their dollar. There's lots of things going on there. We also have all these digital currencies coming into play. So I think the pace of change will be really fast. And that brings us into Sedna. Unbelievably, that links us then back to the Titanic and stuff.
Well, interesting, because I was just suddenly thinking about that. Maybe we should talk about that, about Sedna changing movie to Gemini.
Well, because it's really interesting that Sedna is so associated with oceans and sea and all of that. So Sedna changes signs, and suddenly all our attention is on what's happening, 3 miles below the surface. Right? And then just between, I think it's only since Sunday, there's that volcano that's building up in Iceland. Which which could be exactly the same thing that we had when the Icelandic volcano went. Do you remember years ago? And then the planes.
Yes. Oh, granted.
So I think there is just as Sedna's make this ingress, right? With our attention is drawn elsewhere. Well, Gemini is a commercial sign of the zodiac. So, and Sedna's journey through Gemini surely is going to bring all sorts of commercial change that we can't even imagine now, but will come through the digital currencies and more paying with things with your phone or, a tiny chip. We're moving away very quickly from cash into something else. And I think that it'll feel quite brutal the first few weeks of it.
Yeah. So we just mentioned about the volcano. I think there's one, should I call it dwarf planet or asteroid, Haumea, right?
Oh, yes. The dwarf planet. Yes.
Dwarf planet. Yeah.
Yes. It's sitting right on it's on a cusp now. Right.
Okay.
And so too are the lunar nodes.
Ah.
And so the Haumea and the South Node are very close together at the moment. So
okay.
I've been wondering what the news stories were going to be. And listening obviously to the conversations going on in the house as well. So Haumea has got this reputation as being the terrible gift, right? But in my work, and honestly, I'm not looking at thousands of charts, right? I'm just talking about this is a very small bank of clients that I've got.
Yeah.
Haumea it comes into play. We end up talking about philanthropy, right?
Oh.
Because these are affluent people, right? Who genuinely want to give back, right? So very often there's a conversation that's about lack and giving. Now, this morning, just before we did our call today, a lovely gentleman who lives across the road and who's a retired pastry chef, he comes over with gifts for Michael to keep Michael's weight up. And his opening thing was to tell me about somebody who lives on the street who is in a very bad condition and the assistance that the neighbors were going to give to this. And in the same breath also told me that somebody that he'd worked with, he's now retired, had suffered from a brain injury. And there's now a collection to try and support this guy as he tries to rebuild his life. So, and I thought, this is Haumea with the South Node. It's making all aware of what can you give, right? How do you give back, right? And that that takes me into the other thing. I actually want to show your listeners this thing.
Okay.
Can
yes. Oh yes, please.
Because if anybody hasn't done this is just the most fabulous resource for you. Let me.
Here we are. Yes.
Here we are. Right. If your students haven't gone here yet, this is just the most amazing place to go to get free knowledge, right? But also to learn where certain books are. So supposing you said, you go to alexandriaibase.org. If you went to search the catalogue, and let's say we're all of us very interested in Venus is going to go retrograde, isn't she?
Yes.
Let's say that we're searching for that.
And
I'm saying I'm looking everywhere, in every possible format, anywhere. Right? So now it's going to come up with, and this is so clever, this is a very, very unusual library.
Yeah.
Not only is it bringing up, now, can you look at the titles of these books? They don't actually have the word Venus in the title.
Yes.
But what it means is that our librarians have gone through this and they've found chapters that have got bits on Venus retrograde.
Wow.
So
wow.
It's even better than all of this because, for example, the OPA's quarterly magazine.
Yes.
Which has got a thing on the Venus cycle. The internet access there.
Okay. Wow.
So for all you people that need to do research, this, honestly, we couldn't, those of us who are involved in this, we couldn't be giving a better legacy, right? There's over 20,000 books catalogued. We desperately need help. Even what is it? Is $15 gives us pays for an hour of librarian time. I think that's what. So if everybody for their birthday just gave $15 to the library,
this is amazing. Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. But I think your people will love this. You can search an author or whatever.
Yes.
If you're into Aldebaran or something, or anything weird, not saying Aldebaran's weird, but anyway, you'll find something here. And we're going as fast as we can.
Yeah.
It's really, there's a newsletter that you can sign up for it and get that every so often telling you what new books we've added in. But a great resource.
Yes, definitely. Such an important resource for people who are doing the research, because usually we will ask where I can find them. And where, if you do the Google, well, they'll give you a lot of other things. But here is the book, and it's other people to research before. So we definitely get, much better content about how the other astrologer, how the other, teachers doing this, and then we can go from there. I think this is such important information. And then we're talking about Haumea, and that is the resource, the nourishment.
I'm not sure that Haumea's in here. Yeah, let me just
try it. Maybe you will find some article.
Well, let's. Oh, look, she is. It's going to come up.
Yeah, we have.
There we are. There we are. Already one, right?
Yeah.
That's tremendous, isn't it?
Yes.
My favourite by far. In fact, actually, I don't know Alison's books too well, but this one, More Plutos.
Yes.
This is by a lady called Sue Keeps. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Can I tell you, this book should walk off with every award there is going.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's a breathtakingly stunning work.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not working for her, by the way. I just think just absolutely genius. It's so well researched and so well presented. I think it's available on Amazon now.
Wow. Okay. I'll definitely go to check it out.
That's moreplutos.com.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Christine. I mean, thank you for sharing so much things with us. And I really hope, I think getting easier and not too hot the weather. And so, you and Mike can relax a little bit more. I mean, this weekend, we can foresee the weather going to 28 degrees in London. That is hot for us. My mom keeps saying, do you have air conditioning? So I think, no, we don't need that.
We don't have the But one of the therapists has very kindly lent us a unit. So hopefully, hopefully we won't have the dramas we had before. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah. So don't forget, Christine has her month financial astrology webinar. And also on this weekend have the I think Astro Money Management with Synchronicity University, and in August the big event coming up with the crypto. Okay, don't forget that. And then soon I will reveal my AOA conference, online conference soon. So I hope everyone will join us. And also, me and Christine will see you next month. So thank you and goodbye.
Bye. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you.
Thank you.